Ladies and gentlemen, the My Money Sevens Plan book part 2. As I was saying, this guy, he worked at Hermosa Beach. I'm sorry. He had a company inside of Anaheim, California. A company called Package Lab, The Package Lab. And his client was a dentist, and he knew that I draw. Well, my friend told him that I could draw from their imagination. So I did. They asked for a mouthpiece with 2 vibrators inside of it. I didn't know what kind of vibrator they want, so I had to improvise. And the case, later on, I found out that that same dentist now has a video that said that he invented it, which he invented a teeth grinder mouthpiece, of course. But the thing that he lied about is that he snored and he intentionally invented I don't want to say the name, but this mouthpiece is for snorers. The very first one that came out. I only seen that when I moved back to Grand Rapids. I thought that was going to help me go to these people here in Grand Rapids and get some help. But no, they paid me $12. They got rich. Also in California, I wasn't working with my client anymore because he wanted me to be a punk because of a particular club manager at a comedy club kind of disrespected me, and I had to check him. So I stopped working with him, but I always helped him. He needed me to ride with him to be a carpool dummy. I did. We went to this place in the desert of Los Angeles. Now, we sit in this brainstorming meeting, and there was a bunch of kids. They looked like teenagers, probably early age college students. And I was sitting there all bored out of my mind, and they was brainstorming. It was a brainstorming session. And all of a sudden, my client, mind you, I'm not working, turns to me and say, "Dent, what you think?" And I said, I started to be unprofessional, asked how much I was getting paid for it. But I didn't. I just told him, okay, y'all trying to bring awareness to something. Okay, this was what y'all do. Y'all video my client, while you do a show, and y'all put it online, live, and let people comment. Everybody in that room exploded. What a great idea. That's awesome. Great idea. But, I didn't introduce myself, and the oldest dude in the room must have had a problem with that. So, he asked, "Who are you?" And I told him who I was. My bad. But my client turned down that idea anyway because he wasn't willing to give them that kind of props. I moved back to Grand Rapids, and the ground shook. I moved back to Grand Rapids in Los Angeles in 2008. And I came back to Grand Rapids. I was working part-time. I was working as a general laborer for an independent contractor. And I got off one day. This girl came down the street and she told me that the police had my cousin pulled over. I called his mom. His mom told me to go down and check him out. On my way down the street, I see a cop turn around and come back towards me. I had no idea he was coming towards me. I'm just walking down the sidewalk. Then he pulls up and he says, "You're being detained. You just put yourself in an investigation." Okay, I'm walking down the sidewalk. He made that up. And I said, "I ain't being nothing." Then, 2 more cars pulled up, and he gave me, he asked me for my ID, and I had a plan, so I gave him my ID. When he's trying to put the ID in his shirt pocket, I said, "What you doing? Go run that so I can get it, so I can go back and start my own investigation." He turned and went to his car, he ran it. He came back and he handed me my ID, and he started to walk off. And I said, "Where you going?" "Run it. Name, badge number, run it." Then the other cop across the way was like, so you detaining us now? Oh. And then this douchebag over here, older guy, said, "Be careful of candid cameras." And I said, "You're right. We should be standing in front of your cars." I wanted him to know that I know what I need to know. I'm not one of these little douchebags on these blocks. I know my rights. So, yeah, I should be in front of the camera. Get your candid camera. So I got the information later on. Police Internal Affairs call. And I returned the call. As soon as I hang the phone up from them, I walked to the store and I seen this big fat flob of a cop. Now, I think he Bosco. I don't know Bosco personally, but he was mean mugging me. Obviously, he didn't know I had perfected that from 1994 when I couldn't get the dudes that tried to kill me. I couldn't shoot them because they found that dope. So I had to be mean mugger so I can get them to jump so I can shoot them. But, it never happened. So FOC kept pushing me, so I had to get any kind of job I needed. So I worked with this company called Kirby Vacuum Clean Salesman. This company called CISO Incorporation. Now they changed their name to Noble Industries. He's gonna show me how to work a door in the hood, mind you. So he gonna move his weight self past his sister, and excuse me, and then start breaking down, trying to show me how to run the table. When I walked through the door, I smelt it, and there was a mountain full of weed. The brother was like, "Yo, man, these white people gonna get you killed, brother." I shook my head as an agreement, like, you ain't finna get me killed. I remember in the meeting, this black dude right here, Jerome Darnell, whatever his black name is, he was just laughing at the boss's joke. I knew that he was a sellout then. Didn't know that how sellout he was. Yeah, Darnell, Jerome, whatever your name is, you a sellout. Few years passed. First, that company right there trolled me on Facebook, and I made it backfire on them. So they had to figure out how to stop my vlog. Okay, well, next year, this bus driver just randomly just rolled past me. So I ran and cut him off, got on the bus, put him online to show how kind of douchebag he was. But then, don't ever say God is not in control. I decided to walk to the store. I thought I decided to walk through the store. I did. I ran into E. And E told me to holler at him on my way back. So I went to Douglas on the west side. I got into it with one of them employee because she just let a Mexican break in front of me. Now, I ain't had but a bag of chips. I could have just went ahead and paid for my chips and got my money off my card and be done with it. But she, he got mad and, hey, I was here all this time. Look, but you wasn't in that line. So I decided to throw the chips back, and I told him I was going to do list that company, that business, and I walked out. As I walked out, I seen Ernest E. sitting there looked like something was bad happened to him. And I was finna go over there and ask him what's up, and then he looked like, oh, no, not him. So I pretend like I ain't see him. As I started walking down the sidewalk, somebody that was in the store stopped me and said, "You was right, brother." And I said, "Yeah, but they don't know. I'm about to list that business out of business." Is Douglas around, ladies and gentlemen? They gone. So when they said that, I looked down the street and I seen E and them looking at me. The next day, I went back to Douglas because I wanted to, tell on them, their employee. As soon as I said racism, the owner, Tom Douglas, said, "Oh my God, you people in this racism." So I told him, "Give me my 20 cents for my 2 bottles." And he didn't give it to me. I seen him chase people down for a can of worms. But you can't give me my 20 cents. So I told him, I'm going to list you out of business. But he didn't believe me after they tried to kill me. Then 3 days later, I'm walking down Seward Street. I'm walking down Bridge Street in Seward by Engine 3. There was a cop parked, sitting by the trash can. They magically removed that trash can. I don't know why. They trying to hide it or something. I don't know. But I ain't paying him no attention. I kept walking right on past him. Then, that SUV, E, he was sitting there at the intersection, which is his street right there, way too long. So I don't like people doing that. So I gave him the doughboy, hands open. Then he turns off and drives off fast. My instinct was telling me that that's when somebody finna go get something. But he was a cool dude, right? So I just shrugged my shoulders and kept walking. So here I am walking back to Bridge Street, and I walked between a New York Fried Chicken delivery driver and her 17-year-old daughter. She stayed in the car. I smelled the chicken. I walked past, and I seen that Raggedy SUV, Ford Explorer 10 trim, white Ford Explorer 10 trim with a bumper or something hanging off of it. And I said to myself, they need to go park that because it was going 2 miles per hour. It was too raggedy for anybody to be driving. I wouldn't drive it. I didn't have a car. I wouldn't drive something like that. You're going to end up pushing soon. But I heard bullet hit wood. So I kind of glanced to see where the bullet was coming from, and then all of a sudden I got hit in my right side, and it's like somebody just picked me up and turned me towards the street. When it did, I got hit 4 more times on my left side, and then I thumped in my chest. When I looked up, only vehicle I seen was that raggedy SUV. It had stopped. Now, like I said in my last video, they could have stopped because they seen me dancing on the side of the road. However, I just went through an episode or something, and they were sitting right there, so I assumed that they had something to do with what was happening to me. As soon as I said, whatever's happened to me, they causing it. something started coming out that window. And I was like, what is that? And then another one followed it. And another one followed it. So we got 3 objects in the air. And they stopped one by one. When they stopped, they shook and they vanished. I stepped forward and they vanished. Then one more came out and it went towards that New York Fried Chicken delivery driver. Like I said, I used to say that vanished bullet that left his SUV vanished before he hit that window and shattered that window. See, look at here. See that? Now that I see this design from the old artwork, I see that there was window left over. So it was my bad. I guess I did see window left over. It was just a traumatic night for me, ladies and gentlemen. I thought I remembered that the windows all vanished, but that's the same picture. Well, this is one of my first pictures I drew that time it happened. And, of course, I didn't see an angel there, but I'm just going to have to assume that he was there. Here's it's the same picture. Well, it's another picture, same one I drew when it first happened. And they try to make you think that the shooter was trying to shoot her, right? Okay, then why come he didn't shoot her when he drove past her? Because after her window shattered, he sat there for at least 20, 35 seconds, just sitting there, because he was shocked. His bullets just came on me and didn't do anything. When he shot forward to test his gun, it shattered her window. So he was sitting there shocked. But if he was trying to shoot her, how come when he drove by her 2 miles per hour, he didn't finish it? That's a bug. Don't feed me no bug. I had a dream about the next day after I went, okay, don't go too fast. Then, okay, here we go. The next day, my gut was telling me who did it. So I went over his house the next daylight. And I noticed his girlfriend or side chick was on the porch. And she was like, hi, hi. And it was then I was like, there go the driver. At first, I didn't know how many people was in the car because I couldn't see inside of it. It was white fog. She also seen white fog. So I had to go over there and tell him that God blocked his bullets. I just had to read his eyeballs. And when I said it, he looked at me up and down. And I kind of glanced and looked at her as I turned to walk away. And she was giving him the look like, oh my God, my poor baby. So as I was walking away, I said, he did it, he did it, he did it. But why? Didn't know why. So that on that night, I'm walking on the southeast side, well, now it was on the west side, and I'm hearing in my ear. I later come to find out that's when God is finna do something. Then I switched my routes. Guess what? I was walking down the same street they shot me. And as I was walking, I heard a pow. I stopped. It shook me at first. I stopped. I didn't see anything because I was waiting to see some bullets because I was going to ask it to go back like I had a gut feeling that I could have did. Then they shot again. I threw up the middle finger. They shot again. I threw up the middle finger. I got to an intersection. They shot 2 times. Pow, pow. I threw up 2 middle fingers just to show him how I did not like him. And then 3 days later, I had a dream. It was a messed up dream. For some reason, it was a food truck on my street. I don't do food truck that often, but they was giving out steak. So I went home and got the basket that I don't have in real life to go down there and give me some steak. And all of a sudden, I come back outside, and it's a room full of people with hoods on their knees down the street, and they was praying to something. And one of them was standing and looking down the street at me. And I said, I'm done. So I ran home. I started packing. It's time for me to go. My mama never lived with me, but I'm in her room packing all her stuff. Then I hear some voice coming out her drawer, and I paid attention. It said, Dent, you need to start seeing your gut instincts as facts. Don't worry about right now. Soon you will be 200% self-reliant. 200% self-reliant. I love you, son. She went away. She started crying. Even though it sounded like a male voice, I knew it was my mama because my mama had a pacemaker in her voice and on throat before she passed. But I knew it was her. I woke up and I started crying again, but then when I woke up, everything started falling in place. I remember I walked up on the hit. When Ernest was sitting there talking to old boy, that is when they was setting up the hit. I walked up on that. They didn't think I walked up on that. They was making a hit right then. Then I knew it was Kirby who sent him. Because that dude that was sitting right there was Darnell. Jerome, whatever his black name is. And then I knew. I just didn't have any idea about the police at the time, but I knew who sent him and why. they try to stop my show. But guess what? I went to jail. No, I ain't got no money. So they locked me up. Then my high blood pressure went up. I had high blood pressure. Before they sent me behind the bars, I cursed everybody in the room. I cursed like a curse word. I mean, I cursed them. And I was feeling kind of bad, and the brother, CO, tried to break me down because I was laying up, and he tried to kick me off the area where I was, but he didn't. I guess his boss told him not to. Now, this dude right here, he was sawing. We were sawing, because we was on the work crew, and I told him to be careful. He used that saw and cut his boot. Look at that. A chainsaw, ladies and gentlemen, if it goes through your leather, it's going to take foot. But I try to tell him that your only reason why you got your foot is because I'm out here with you. That's another one of the miracles. All right, a year passes. After I had beef with the R Prize 10, here come the police sending this douchebag at my house. First, I was at a barbecue with my dad and my uncle who's visiting out of town, and they got mad because I was ready to go. So, they arguing at me, and I sat there. Then later on, they dropped me off. And then I went upstairs and dropped off my bag. I came back downstairs, and the police was across the street. One of them asked me, "Hey, we responded to a shooting. You seen anything?" I said, "I just got here." Then I asked, "How long ago?" "Oh, about 20 minutes ago." So I said, "I just got here." And I started walking to the store like I was planning on doing. Then the Lord started speaking. "Then how long you lived over here?" I said, "Almost 2 or 3 years." "How many shootings have there ever been?" I was like, "None." He said, "Then, with all the stuff that's going on with you right now, is there any coincidence that this had nothing to do with you?" I was like, "None." And he said, "Then," I think I'm missing something. Again, he said, "Then, 20 minutes." Then I stopped and I turned in the middle of the street, and I looked back down the street. The police was still there. So I went on to the store, and I got what I went to the store to get. And then on my way back, instead of going over there to the police because they were still sitting there, I started went and investigating my house just to show them how I knew what happened. So I knew what happened. Then again, I went to jail. FOC, ladies and gentlemen. This douchebag right here sat on the table. How unprofessional. In court. They didn't have a court reporter. There was a kangaroo court from the beginning. And this douchebag right here, judge, douchebag. But I already cursed him too, and her. Y'all may try and stop me. Every time y'all swing on me, lock me up, lie on me, you ain't doing nothing but blessing me. You're giving me heaven. But I am going to put this book out there. I'm going to put my products out there. I'm going to create my ball cycles. I'm going to create my 2D money clubs, my 2Maka app, my do-do list, my don't list, my P3 club, my balls high. My identity blog report is going to talk to the world. And when the world starts playing with me, watch how I destroy my enemies.